Hello, fourth grade. We're going to be starting American Explorers and then Missions for Unit 2. We're in Part 4 of Unit 2. Now, for pages 40 to 42, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go into Google Classroom and take a look at the first video that's posted in there that says Junipero Serra and the California mission. So it's going to take you to a YouTube video that you'll be able to watch. I'm not going to play it here since the link is already provided to you. I do want you to watch it before you get started on the pages that we're going to work on. The second thing that we have over here is a link for a virtual tour of the California mission. We're going to be talking about these a little more next week, but I did want to give you a chance to take a look at them because they are going to be a part of the rest of this week's assignment. It'll give you a good idea of where these missions were located, what they generally looked like, and the ability to kind of take a virtual tour and go inside of them. Now let's get started on our lesson for this week. Now, like I asked, I want you to download these. If you're not printing them out and physically highlighting and writing on them, I do want you to download them and open them in Adobe Acrobat. If you do that, you'll have these different options on top where it'll give you a highlighter option and it'll give you a sticky note option. So as you're reading, if you come across something important, I want you to highlight it. If you want to make notes on something, you can add a sticky note. So this section is about American explorers. And our first one is John Bidwell. John Bidwell had heard about the warm weather and fertile land in California. In 1841, he led a group of the first people to travel to California on the main California Trail. They had no guide or map, and they almost starved to death. After 6 months of journey, they climbed the Sierra Nevada mountains and made it to the Central Valley. So I'm going to take my highlighter. I'm going to highlight first his name, John Bidwell. And I'm going to highlight that in 1841, he led a group of the first people to travel to California on the California Trail. And let's see. After 6 months journey, they climbed the Sierra Nevada mountains and made it to the Central Valley. So yours will probably look neater than mine, and that's okay. The next person we're going to talk about is Jedediah Smith. So explorer and fur trapper Jedediah Smith and a group of men left from Utah in 1846 and headed west. Jedediah wanted to explore California. They traveled through the Mojave Desert with some Indians to guide them. They explored the Central Valley and the San Francisco Bay Area. He was the first American to explore California. So again, we're going to go through, we're going to highlight the important stuff. So Jedediah Smith, that's his name, left from Utah in 1846 and headed west. He traveled through the Mojave Desert with some Indians to guide him. Oops. They explored the Central Valley and the San Francisco Bay Area, and he was the first American to explore California. So all of those are the important bits. Highlight, take notes. If you want to add a sticky note instead and put this information, you can do that as well. The Donner Party was a group of 81 settlers that wanted to start a new life in California. Led by brothers Jacob and George Donner, they tried to cross the Sierra Nevada in the winter of 1846 and became trapped by the snow. 45 of them died of starvation and disease. 36 made it safely to California. There is a monument to honor them in Truckee. So again, I'm going to take my highlighter. I'm going to highlight the important part. Donner Party, 81 settlers, and they wanted a new life in California. They tried to cross the Sierra Nevada in the winter of 1846 and became trapped by the snow. We know that 45 died of starvation and disease. And then 36 made it safely to California. Now, our next explorer is John C. Fremont. And John C. Fremont was a military officer and map maker of the West. He was sent to map the route from the Mississippi to the Rocky Mountains. In 1843, he hired explorer Kit Carson as a guide to map the trail to Oregon. They were part of the Bear Flag Rebellion in 1846, which was the beginning of the Mexican-American War. So we have two people that we're talking about here. We've got John C. Fremont, was a military officer and a map maker. Oops. And he was sent to map the route from Mississippi to the Rocky Mountains. And in 1843, he hired Kit Carson as a guide to map the trail to Oregon. We know that they were a part of the Bear Flag Rebellion in 1846. And this was the beginning of the Mexican-American War. Our last person is James Beckworth. He was an African-American pioneer who explored the West. In 1850, he discovered the Beckworth Pass, a way to get through the Sierra Nevada mountains to get to California. In 1851, he led the first wagon train of settlers along the trail into Marysville. The trail was used until 1855, when the railroads were built. So again, James Beckworth, African-American pioneer. In 1850, he discovered the Beckworth Pass, which was a way to get through the Sierra Nevada mountains to California. We know that he led the first wagon train of settlers along the trail. And we know that it was used until 1855 when the railroads were built. So we're going to take that information and we're going to use it to help us on the next page. So make sure after you've highlighted or added sticky notes, make sure your name and date is on your pages. Now on this next page, it says there were a number of different routes to California. Look at the routes that these American explorers took on the way to California. So you can see the Donner Party and Jedediah Smith and John Bidwell took this route. We can see John Fremont took this route. The Beckworth Pass is right over here. So compare the two maps. The top map shows the various trails to California. The bottom map shows the landforms of North America. The dark lines are rivers. The mountains are shown as well. What do you notice about the land on the way to California? Answer on the next page. So over here on this map, we know the dark lines are the rivers. These little arrowhead looking parts are going to be our mountain ranges. Take a good look at both of these because we're going to use these maps to answer our questions on the next page. What was the land like on the trails to California? So here's California right here. And look at the different trails that they took to get to California. So they're all starting somewhere in this general region right here, and they're going this way. So take a look at what kind of things they're going through, what kind of areas they're crossing. Now remember, these little arrowheads are mountains. These dark shaded areas are going to be more of our desert areas. The next question says, how would this cause problems for explorers going west? Please make sure you're using complete sentences when you answer these. And then the bottom section says, the journey was long and difficult, but the explorers still wanted to go. People move for many reasons. There are push factors, things that push you out of your homeland, and pull factors, things that pull you to a new location. Sort the push and pull factors below. So push factors are usually a bad thing. They're the things that make you want to leave where you already are. And pull factors are the things that are new or exciting that you want to go to, things that are pulling you to go into that area. So take a look at these different options over here, and you're going to type them into the boxes down here at the bottom. So these are all text boxes, so you'll be able to type in here. So you're going to put in each one of these different points into the appropriate box. Once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and turn that in.